This is my answer for question 2, which is how effective is a combination of your main product and your ancillary tasks. Right, being composed as a full package, the short film, the poster and the review all coordinate together in aid for positive promotion in our if our creations were directed for professional use, that is. With these 3 examples of the A2 project, consumerism comes across successful due to the dominance of advertising and audience knowledge of these texts, and our whole portfolio would work positively in a real commercial context. Having 3 media texts to influence others in this project, which is simply the short film, the review and the poster, as a whole sustains the idea of the marketing package. In order for successful audience gain, these factors each play separate roles, emphasising the objective of a satisfied spectator. For example, the poster itself sells the film and is the initial advertising method that audiences must be captivated by. Failure to intrigue the target market here, and you fail to promote your film positively overall. The lacking audience would make the text pointless due to the purposes of creating the text initially, which would be to gain a successful audience. Constructing an unsuccessful piece of advertising imagery would result in the lacking of potential within the film. Similarly to the poster itself, placement of observation is crucial. Due to the target audience ranging from 16 years to mid-40s and 50s, and due to the range of audience members, location of advertisement would be spread among a broad basis. Due to the minimal budget of our film, yet again, if it was constructed professionally, bus advertisements correlating with the young spectator would be considered appropriate and would promote our film with the correct intentions. Public transportation used by the younger generation is daily taken, and therefore spectators would recognise the poster. Similarly to this, billboards and digital viewing of our poster, such as images delivered through social networking sites, popular online websites, things like that, would be realistic methods of advertising and suitable for the younger end of the spectrum and the budget that we would be tightly under. For the older members of the audience, I believe that internet observation of the poster would be delivered as successful due to the advanced technologies available and used frequently in the modern day. And now, most adults, specifically range from 40s to 50s, have a wider knowledge of technologies and would be able to access this in comparison to years ago, which they wouldn't have had a clue. We would be lacking high budget, and therefore large advertisements in newspapers, for example, would be difficult, like having them spread over a double page or having them on one single page, because the cost would be extreme. However, depending on the positioning and the composition of the poster, or the sizing, where it is in the newspaper, this may be doable, and depending on the style and genre of the newspaper, of course, connecting to the audience, like you wouldn't have a sophisticated audience reading The Sun, for example, because they're targeted at 2 completely different markets. And this must correlate with the preferences of the audience, which I just explained. The poster has to accurately represent the film, so that the correct audience find captivation within the advertising alone, and by it being a large part of the promotional package, it's increasingly important that I manage to intrigue, and our group manages to intrigue audiences with just one single glimpse. Ways to construct this being so captivating and intriguing would be elements of mise-en-scène, especially. Setting is shown significantly in the poster, which is seeable just here with the viaduct and the landscape. Setting is shown significant in the poster due to the dominating and overpowering composition and positioning. This fills the frame as a whole, and therefore it is highly substantial. It is one of the highly substantial conventions. Within the film also, which is indicated with subtle hint of foreshadowing from the poster, this location gains its sentimental value through the use of repetition, because in our short film, this setting or location particularly is repeated at present day, so audiences would recognise it from the poster, which I think is a successful convention. Facial expressions of the protagonist positioned far right of the frame are delivered as neutral. Audiences are unable to sympathise or empathise, despite the fact of not knowing any knowledge about her. But sometimes when you look at a poster for a film, you can tell that they're either upset, depressed, they're either threatened by something, and you can kind of gather how they're feeling, and then you can react as an audience member and receive it, either feeling sympathy for the character or empathy, like just explained. But with this one, she's quite neutral. And that kind of brings out the mysterious element, and audiences are left feeling a strong sense of curiosity about her traits because they're left not knowing much. The colour used to compose the blood on the left side of her face, which is red, constructed through technologies such as Photoshop, shares connotations such as danger, threat, death, loss, guilt and love, emphasising the limited amount of information audiences will gain through just gazing at her facial structure, which I'll show you again just there. Breaking the fourth wall occurs to be considered as far as poster design goes. Normally it would be constructed through a film text like a short film or a feature film especially, but here you can kind of tell that she's looking into the audience's eyes, which immediately can create a bond between the two. So when the protagonist stares at the audience out of desperation and loss, which I guess you can kind of tell with the negativity struck through her facial expressions, an emotional attachment, which I've just said, is initially created here between the spectator and the female character archetype, and this is a dominant strength of our poster itself. Hair and makeup assist ideologies of constructing negativity due to the positioning of the fringe being composed on the right side of her face, which is shown just here again. On her right side of her face, similarly to the blood and shadows that hides a section of her blank face, which enables the tense atmosphere to be created among just her facial area. The emptiness composed through the recognisable side of her face further eliminates her neutral expression, which is just here. Hard lighting used when conducting the photo shoot for the poster was thought to reinforce negativity and dread with the harsh shadows created. Among the anti-parallel lines with shadows constructed by the viaduct, which is just shown along here, spreading darkness is shown throughout the imagery and foreshadows the trepidation created within the film text. Low-key lighting similarly coordinates with this, as well as the lacked ambient lighting to emphasise the distortion of the perverse reality delivered through the protagonist's mind and the narrative of the short film. Similarly with mise-en-scène, cinematography is very significant too. The medium shot or the medium close-up of the protagonist was composed this way as elements of body language, but mostly facial expressions were visible. Costume observation was crucial due to the colour portrayal and psychological meaning behind it, which is like negative connotations. Also, social class of the character is visible through the medium close-up. Like, as you can see, there's a black vest opposing to a suit, emphasising, like a suit would emphasise middle class or high culture, but I guess this female protagonist is of the working class. Well, the assumptions would be that, and all other considered representations as well. And the establishing shot and enabling audiences' knowledge of the setting was composed due to the significance of this particular location within our short film. By it being the most dominant image of the poster, consumers are easily able to identify this. By the bridge being constructed through a low angle reinforces its dominance and importance further, intimidating audiences if they were to take this a step further, hopefully, and to watch our short film, which would prove the persuasiveness and the appeal to audiences' views of the poster. Editing, finally. The post-production elements such as Photoshop allowed us to create the poster as a starting point. And similarly, the font, the text size, positioning of all visual aspects on here, lighting, adjustments and the creation of blood among the protagonist's face, which is just here. The use of layers also enabled us to do all this, being the most significant elements of the poster overall. Pre-production is also significant due to the planning and initial ideologies for post-success within the film. This being a dominant element of the promotional aspects is aided in the correct direction with the review alongside it, using persuasive techniques and various other language methods to captivate and follow guidelines set by Little White Lies. The review must appeal to the Little White Lies audience, following the set format and layout and enabling our design to be a recognisable convention of the magazine as a whole. The review must be persuasive and intriguing to readers, similarly the audience of our film, and written in a similar style to Little White Lies. Adobe InDesign, which is a software which we were able to access at the campus, enabled us to construct the review, designing it to a professional standard and making it being a strong contender of the marketing campaign. Here is our review. The recognisable location illustrated here is outstanding in the review, as it is the only piece of imagery shown. Being positioned central and above all the text convinces consumers to absorb the information delivered through it, being a specific shot of the film itself, or from the film itself, before finding connections with any other conventions such as the text, the titling, the point scoring, just here the page number and the symbol next to it. This stage will become automatic due to the naked eye looking here immediately as audiences turn from the previous page in the magazine. Correlating with the poster here, this location, which you saw just here, just from a different angle, the location is delivered through a unique angle, which is just said, suggesting that audiences will interpret this imagery successfully due to the recognition, successfully promoting the short film through different methods. The title, which is just near my index finger, reading Broken Bond, resembles the text embedded in the poster, making a symbiotic link in which audiences will recognise the font here and in the poster is Tahoma. This similarly promotes Broken Bond successfully due to these correlating factors. The colour as well is the same, so that kind of helps as well. The 3 scores located bottom right of the page gives audiences an insight of how reviewers have received the text, giving them a truthful opinion of its success and an objective state of mind, which is just here with little explanations just alongside it, which is similarly a dominant convention of Little White Lies reviews. Being restricted to the essential conventions of Little White Lies, we managed to maintain the following: inserting only one image from the text itself positioned at the top of the page, enabling audiences to have their attention drawn here automatically first. The title is to follow this image, slightly lower in the gap between the image and the important names illustrated. Director, stars and release date must be formatted the same as the other text in the review. However, the responses, i.e. the names themselves, will be boldened and shown through italics, which is just along here, look. The beginning letter of the review is to match the colour of the title, which is done here. Also, this letter must be dropped 3 lines down so it outstands larger in comparison to the rest of the text. The lining of the text must be justified both left and right, which is in all 3 columns. Left and right having all words included ending parallel to the ones above or below it. 3 columns evenly spaced apart, 55mm down, which 1, 2, 3. The background must be of a significant colour, which we chose white because it correlates with the protagonist's costume, shown in the image from the short film itself. And it has to only be one colour, which we managed to do as well. The point scoring at the end is crucial. Honesty here is key. This is formatted with a set of 2 parallel lines closely positioned and multiplied by 4 of these composed below, which are just these here, which we managed to also do in InDesign, which is all of this as well. The name of the journalist must be boldened at the end of the review, which is here. When I was studying Little White Lies magazine, most of them, well, nearly all of the reviews, like minus a couple, had the journalist's name on the same line as the finalising line of the text. I was unable to do this because my name's really long, and I spoke to a technician at college and he said it should be fine. He said that isn't really an increasingly important convention, and because it couldn't be helped, because we had already cut down our review as far as it could go, and like the font size wouldn't go smaller anyway because it would have looked a bit strange, so I just put it at the bottom, just there. The page number and icon must be placed bottom corner of the piece, which is here, and the icon is significant due to the focus film of the magazine as a whole, which was Orphan, which we were majorly influenced by, despite the fact that it is a focus film and it's not a short film, but the water scene was just incredible, so we took that from there. And the little Chinese symbol there means family, which is very significant to our narrative as well as Orphan's narrative. To finalise, the ancillary products and the short film all coordinate successfully together in order to work well as part of the whole marketing package represented by the portfolio. The short film in particular is represented by these products with the corresponding but unique roles they deliver in order for a successful market and positive promotion. The combination of these three products is increasingly effective due to the coordination and the unique methods they convey, the poster being the dominant advertiser and the review being the dominant persuader. That's it.